Sara was born into a family that loved her dearly, but even their love couldn't shield her from the world's cruel comments. She was big right from birth, a chubby baby who grew into a larger-than-average child. While her parents reassured her that she was beautiful, society's gaze was not as kind. In school, she was the fat girl, an easy target for bullies who teased her about her size. Every laugh, every snide comment etched itself into Sara's self-esteem like a scar. She became quiet, retreating into the comfort of books and dreams that she never dared to share out loud. One of those dreams was to be a beauty queen. Every night, she would watch YouTube clips of women gliding down runways, dazzling in their gowns, with crowds cheering them on. In her dreams, she was one of them, graceful and confident. But reality was different. In reality, she avoided mirrors and barely spoke in class, afraid of being noticed. When she got into university, she thought things would change, but they didn't. The teasing continued, sometimes subtle and sometimes direct. No guy ever asked her out, and she watched as her friends went on dates, gushing about their relationships. She pretended it didn't bother her, but the loneliness was suffocating. One afternoon, Sara overheard two girls talking about the upcoming university beauty pageant. "Only the prettiest girls compete," one of them said. "It's not for everyone." Sara walked away, but the words stayed with her. That night, she stared at herself in the mirror. Her reflection was familiar but foreign. For years, she had let others define her beauty. What if she stopped listening to them? What if she chased her dream even if it terrified her? The next morning, she signed up for the pageant. When her friends found out, they were shocked. "Are you sure?" one of them asked, concern in her eyes. Sara smiled weakly. "I'm sure." The weeks leading up to the pageant were tough. Sara practiced her walk, learned to pose with confidence, and prepared her speech. But the hardest part was silencing the voice in her head that told her she wasn't good enough. Every time it whispered doubts, she countered it with a reminder of why she had started this journey. The day of the pageant arrived, and Sara felt the weight of her insecurities pressing down on her. She watched the other contestants backstage, tall, slender girls who seemed born for this. Her hands shook as she adjusted her bikini for the swimsuit round. She wanted to run, but something inside her wouldn't let her. When her name was called, Sara stepped onto the stage. The bright lights blinded her for a moment, but she kept walking. She could hear whispers from the crowd, but she blocked them out. In her mind, she was walking not for their approval but for herself. The rounds passed quickly, the swimsuit round, the traditional African attire segment, and finally, the evening gown walk. Sara wore a deep red gown that hugged her calves in all the right places. Her hair flowed down her back, and her smile, though nervous, radiated warmth. As she walked, she thought of the little girl who had hidden her dreams out of fear. Not anymore, she thought. When the finalists were called, Sara's name was announced. Her breath hitched. She stood beside the other contestants, waiting as the host read the winner's name. And the winner is Sara Michael. Tears streamed down her face as the crown was placed on her head. The applause was deafening, but it was the pride in her heart that meant the most. She had done it. She had faced her fears, silenced the doubts, and proven to herself that she was worthy of the dream she had held onto for so long. As she looked out at the cheering crowd, Sarah realized that winning the crown wasn't the victory, believing in herself was. And in that moment, she knew she would never let anyone dim her light again.